Hello one and all, and do join us in the dying stages of qualifying for the sprint around Zandvoort on this Sunday evening. It's been a box office day of motor racing. We've seen a frankly remarkable Monaco Grand Prix. We've had an exhilarating Indianapolis 500. We now have PFL Tier 4 sprinting around the corners of Zandvoort. Wherever you are in the world, thank you so very much for your company. And PFL has had quite a week around Zandvoort. And we hope to write more memories in the next few, let's say next hour. Now, let's just go through the provisional order. So it seems like Shadows is going to take pole position. Wiedebest is on his final lap. Atomic Drax was on a lap, but has found the wall. So it is just Wiedebest then who looks to thwart the dominance or the superiority of Shadows in this session, but he has gone for a spin through the final corner. So the winner from qualifying is Shadows, and he will head the field for the sprint. Atomic Drax then goes for another venture off-road. So then, that is qualifying done. Sorry for the delayed start. I was watching the Indy 500, but we are back just in time for the sprint around Zandvoort. So there it is, your qualifying order. Shadows is on pole ahead of Hydrant. Then we have Dumbest Basket, Wiedebest, Akurdre, Ellie, Brother Troll, KOT, Bullet, and Moose rounding out the top 10. Then outside the top 10, we have Atomic Drax, Funky Delia, The Best, Keys Board, Sand His Gandals, Donkey Kong, and Theo. But Bullet qualifies inside the top 10 on the medium compound tyres, so he will start on those medium compound tyres, which may open up strategy for his race and put himself in a promising position. But what a week PFL has had around Zandvoort, a circuit restored and revived to modern Formula One. It is a joy to be here, and it's a joy to thrill at the action that PFL has birthed ever since Wednesday night. Now, the drivers do not want to start till 2057, so any drivers watching, do not start. Do not click ready up. And it seems like we are going to respect that, which hasn't been the case across the board this weekend. And it seems like someone has not respected that. So soon we will be underway here at Zandvoort. The sun is very much shining on the track, but who will it be shining come the end of this 18-lap sprint? We have 5 red lights on ahead of the drivers. And for the final time this week, we are racing at Zandvoort. It seems like it's a good start from Shadows, but can Hydrant pose a threat into turn 1? He looks to the inside of Tarzan, and it's contact between the pair. hydrant, getting himself in a spin. He loses out, and it's been a massive crash, an enormous crash between Wiedebester, Kerdry, Dumba's Basket and Moose. Somehow the safety car hasn't been deployed, and there's contact between Keysboard and Donkey Kong, who are still going side by side. The McLaren then gets in a spin, and utter carnage on lap 1, and Atomic Drax has met the wall, and the conclusion to his race. You can see in the background there, the Ferrari lighting up his rear tyres through the exit of turn 3. We have the virtual safety car deployed, 5 drivers eliminated in the opening corners, but wow, what a dramatic and in many cases hellish and hallucinating start for the drivers. So then the virtual safety car has been deployed, a dramatic start for the drivers. I know some are calling for a restart, but for the moment we are, well, we will have to see. But for the moment it is Shadows that leads this race ahead of Brother Troll. You can see Brother Troll, KOT and Bullet have made up 5 places. Keysboard has made up 9. Theo has made up 11. So it has been a fantastic start to their race. So then, we're just looking at many screens here to see if we are going to restart this race. Dumbest Basket has left the session, that he was already out of this race, but we are back underway here at Zandvoort. Brother Troll is actually still an AI, so KOT will look to seize that second place in an instant. Oh, and now Sandy's, the McLaren, has gone for a venture off-road on towards turn 7, and his race has been run already. Oh, and Keysboard then finds the wall as well. And I think we are actually going for a restart. So if you're listening, anyone, I think this start will be rather null and void. Oh, and no, Brother Troll then has also gone for a venture through the final corner, which has brought out the yellow flags. Apologies one and all. Yeah, and it seems like we are going to be restarting this race, I think. Again, apologies everyone. So yes, we are going to be restarting after a hectic initial start. So we will be restarting this race. That may have been one of the most chaotic, crazy opening meters of racing you may ever see. So then, we're back where we pretty much were. I will not know the process of how we restart the race, whether the already eliminated drivers have to go to the back of the grid. There's a lot of confusion. So we're just going to have to sit back and wait for the moment and see which kind of consensus the drivers reach. So then we will try and bring you the action of what is going to happen as soon as we can. That will give me a chance to actually load up the championship standings. So then the drivers are joining. Yeah, the drivers are joining this lobby. So we will be back underway at Circuit Zandvoort, hopefully in a few moments' time. But wow, what utter carnage that was through turn 1. As We The Best puts in the Discord server, that's the first red flag of the season. First red flag of PFL, so we are breaking new ground in this racing league, even if even if it isn't necessarily for the better. So then, after the anarchy of the first few turns of the original start around Zandvoort for this Tier 4 race, we will go again. We're just waiting for one driver to join the session who will start from the back of the grid, going by the name of Connor, but we will soon be back underway. We have seen thrills and spills across each and every tier in PFL this week. We have flirted with the unknown and the improbable, but we have realised the shocking, thrilling nature of racing being adorned on our screens every week in PFL, whether it's tier 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. It certainly has always been and will always be a thrilling ride. But 18 laps around Zandvoort, a track which we have known this weekend, but do know in general, it is an old school layout. 2.646 miles covers the track, and with 14 corners that just leave the drivers constantly on the edge. 2 banked corners through turn 3 and turn 14, and other really blistering corners, the likes of turn 7, 8, as well as turn 14 and the famous Tarzan corner which opens up the lap 2. There is certainly not a thirst for history around Zandvoort, and it is just brilliant that not only Formula 1 returning to the scene in the Netherlands, but also PFL 2 writing its own history along the lines of tarmac that illuminate the circuit Zandvoort. Now, we are getting ever closer to the start of the race. Still waiting for that one driver. Right, he should be here any second. So, just if you had any momentary plans, just probably put it to the side for one moment, because the 18-lap ride around Zandvoort will soon be upon us. Across most notably Tier 1 and Tier 2 this weekend, it has been a race very much of attrition. So then we will have 18 drivers for this race. I simply cannot wait. This has been a celebration of motorsport festivity as today. We've seen 2 gems in motorsport's Triple Crown exude its legend and history. But we also have PFL living up to the expectations that it has set in the past 4 weeks. The drivers look like they're readying up, so we will soon be underway. If you are watching this stream, put into the comments who you think will take the honours in the final race this weekend. Make sure to pop it in the chat and I'll be able to read them. But the clock is ticking down. So then we need to give time to the drivers to obviously make their setup and to choose their correct tyres. So hopefully nobody skips the readying up. So let's hope that sometimes the trigger-happy people on the ready up button avoid that temptation. So then, rain has fallen upon the Zandvoort circuit. This is going to prove a mega problem to the drivers. Zandvoort is challenging enough, but wow. I know the drivers are certainly they certainly disapprove of the new track conditions. And thankfully, everyone is avoiding the temptation of pressing ready up for the moment. But Zandvoort's obviously notorious for having high downforce. You can see the medium and high speed corners across the circuit. So what already is a high downforce setup will probably be even more rich in its high downforce, as you will need a lot more mechanical and tyre grip with these wet conditions. It's going to be a race also where the limit is going to have to be found, but not gone over. So then, the clock is ticking down. The drivers will be on the grid, and we have a race to start. Who knows what the next 18 laps will present, but it will surely be an almighty challenge. Who can rise to that challenge and rise beyond the rest? We are racing for the final time this weekend around Zandvoort. Hold on to your seats. This is going to be a wild ride. And once more, we are racing around Zandvoort. Shadows, has he got a good start? Hydrant is taking the fight to him, and drivers lighting up the tyres. Oh, there's a crash between KOT and Shadows. Utter carnage once more on the start-finish straight. The virtual safety car has been deployed, but KOT out of the race. Shadows, who started from pole, drops down to the rear of the field, lighting up his rear tyres. And what we hoped to be a smooth start has proved anything but. Oh, we have contact then. Bullet and Donkey Kong getting together. And Bullet again having some problems. And it has not been the greatest of starts. Now the safety car in its entirety has been deployed. Thankfully for these drivers, they will be able to pit for new front wings and get themselves back in competitive action. But for Mercedes, it's not been a great start. Atomic Drax has now gone for a spin. He's now been disqualified from the session for going the wrong way. That's quite harsh, if you ask me. But Shadows then, who started from pole, lost it on the start-finish, well, on the grid, really. And a race where he started from pole seems a long way away from him now. The safety car is out. The drivers will form into a queue. Does anyone think about pitting? It wouldn't, for the front runners, it wouldn't seem particularly sensible. But Donkey Kong is going to take the chance. And let's see, does he need a new front wing? Yes, he does. That is why he is pitting up. No! Faux pas amongst the pack, and Connor has met the end of his race down the start-finish straight. And disaster for one Mercedes has turned into disaster for another just a lap later. There was a big coming together on the start-finish straight, and it is Connor then who pays the priciest and most severe consequences. So it is been a race more notorious for its carbon across the track than actual racing so far. It's not been the greatest start to this race. Obviously, the wet conditions pose a real challenge to the drivers, but we have already lost 3 drivers in this race. And Connor's saying his game just froze. And all of a sudden, he found himself out of this race. But Hydrant's leading the field then. We're on lap 2 of 18 in this Zandvoort sprint. And it is the Alpine that heads the pack. We the best got up 2 places at the start. Other great launchers include Santis Gandals, who has leapt up 8 places, as well as Theo. But the big losers from this start have got to be Brother Troll and the man who started this race from pole, Shadows. Wow, what a manic start we have seen to this race. It is Hydrant that has kept his cool at the start, and from second he turned it into first at the very first corner. Though that was definitely helped by Shadows hitting the wall after just launching off of the grid. Now, hopefully, the safety car may come in at the end of this lap. We're only just at the very start of the lap, of course. But hopefully, green flag action will be imminent. For the drivers, it's just about keeping it cool, just calming down under the safety car. The hectic first start, which turned into a red flag. We just want everything to be calmed down a little bit. But having said that, it seems like there's a bit of a queue falling behind Key's board. Thankfully, it seems like no damage has emerged from that. But the safety car will peel off into the pits at the end of this lap. So, as we hoped for, racing is once more imminent. Getting your safety car restart sorted is going to be absolutely imperative. But for Hydrant, what will serve as a crumb of comfort is that you can't pass until the actual start-finish line. It seems like Wiedebest was almost going to plough into the rear of him. But when does Hydrant choose to go? I think he's chosen his opportunity. He leaves Wiedebest in his wake. Oh, he's slowing down again. That's not what you want to see there from Hydrant. But Akerdre is going to take the opportunity to progress past Dummies Basket on the inside into Tarzan. The Ferrari goes out wide, and then Wiedebest gets himself into a half spin. He damages his front wing, and that is going to cause a chain reaction from the drivers behind. And it seems like Theo has now retired from the session on the exit of turn 1. Let's see from the best if... Oh, he's upside down. This is a horrid incident there for Theo. Funky Delia ahead of Sandy's Gandals, and now Donkey Kong has gone for a spin. Utter carnage still at this safety car restart. Now Funky Delia down the inside of Moose, and he leaps up then into 6th place. Wow, what another chaotic restart that has been. The McLaren of Gandals getting out wide. What does Brother Troll want to do about that? He gets a very clean exit. He's going to hunt that McLaren down. This is the battle for 8th place. And it's going to be a battle that Brother Troll comes out on top on. Yes, it is. He goes round the outside, and the McLaren just did not have an answer to it. Ellie now in 5th place ahead of Funky Delia, the Williams, seemingly looking for the exit through turn 14 to progress past the Red Bull. He'll have the slipstream even under the wet conditions down the start-finish straight. Can he launch an attack into turn 1? No, he cannot. It seems like the action may, thankfully, have calmed down. Finally, at long last, Sandy's Gandalf still ahead of Bullet. see, can the Alfa Romeo get a good enough exit off of turn 3 to cause the McLaren a problem? No, Gandalf has created his own problem, and now he has shadows breathing down his neck. They're going to rage on towards turn 7. Is the Mercedes going to opt for the outside line? He does, and he dances and dazzles around the outside. Shadows showing the richness of his racecraft to absolutely rage past the McLaren. His race revive has started, and it has started with a resplendent overtake. Ellie then still ahead of Funky Delia. Of course, no DRS in action under these wet conditions. Funky Delia close to Ellie, but not close enough. Moose still ahead of Brother Troll. But out in front it is Hydrant that is still leading the race. I know a lot of people are going to question that safety car restart. It seemed like he started and then slowed down again. Probably slightly irritating some drivers behind. But let's hope it is clean in this race from here on in. Shadows then trying to hunt down bullets. This is the battle for 9th place, and then we have yellow flags through the first sector. Now a Kerdre has spun out of contention, and what seemed to be a promising race for the Alpine is now a race that has got away from him, and the safety car has now been deployed. I said the action had calmed down. The safety car for the second time in this race has come out, maybe to a Kerdre's relief, but that little incident there off the exit of turn 3 has dealt his race a major blow. Kerdre will have to box for a new front wing. Again, are any drivers going to take the opportunity to pit? Again, it's still intermediate conditions. We're only 6 laps into the race. I can't really see why you'd want to pit, but we'll have to see. If there is a drastic difference between fresher and already eaten into tyres, then maybe is it a gamble worth taking? The front 3 all stay out. What's Daly going to do? She too stays out. And as expected, the drivers are avoiding coming in for a new set of tyres. Donkey Kong now has a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. A Kerdre, though, is going to get rid of his broken front wing and will replace it with a battle back up the pack. Join us here on lap 7 of 18 around Zandvoort, and it's been an absolutely manic start. Hydrant, though, has gone from 2nd to 1st. He leads the field, and for the second time will have to lead the field in a safety car restart. We de Besto will be hunting him down and will look to claim the lead off of the Alpine. Drivers obviously getting temperature into their tyres because it can pay dividends come safety car restart. Not being in the right window can cost you quite substantially. The best then has pitted, it seems. He is, well, going to join the rear of the train and will battle back into action. It is now lap 8 here at Zandvoort. We are creeping towards halfway distance. We haven't really had that much racing action so far. So hopefully in the second half of this race that gets sorted out. Drivers in a train amongst one another. Donkey Kong now has come into the pits once more. I don't believe it's for his drive-through penalty because I don't think he's able to serve that under the safety car. Shadows, who crashed on the first lap, literally just getting off of the grid, he is back into the points, and in the second half of this race, under the thundering skies, he is going to need a fulminating charge if he can recover his lost places following that lap 1 crash. You can see Eddie's Red Bull sparking away there, but the safety car once more will come into the pits and the racing will reignite. When does Hydrant choose to go then? It did seem like he was stopping and starting last time out, and that could have led to a massive crash. Thankfully it didn't. Hopefully it's a bit more smooth this time out. Let's ride on board with We The Best. When does Hydrant choose to go? Weaving this way, that way, through the bank, turn 40. Has he chosen his time to go? It looks like oh no, he hasn't, it seems. But We The Best is hurrying him down the straight. And they're going to, well, it looks like they were going to battle it on towards turn 1. As Hydrant maintains the lead, and it looks like We The Best gives him a tap. But the Alpine managing to recover it and maintain the race lead. And then we have an incident there. It looks like the Best has had a problem through Tarzan. It's been a problematic race for him, and now Akerdre getting past Sandy Scandaus through turn 3. And Akerdre is back up into the point, but then spins once more. He was running in the top 4, and a race that promised so much for Akerdre has now given him so little. Ellie is under pressure from Funky Delia on towards turn 8. That's an opportunistic move, but it is not able to be executed by the Williams. Ellie keeping Funky Delia at bay, but only just. But Funky Delia then getting into a spin, meeting the wall, and he has wounded his Williams. He's out of the race now. That is such a shame there for Funky Delia. He was pressurising Ellie 4th, but that pressure has now come to no avail, and we're now down to, unluckily, 13 drivers in this race. Hydrant still leads, but this is only by, well, 6.5 tenths of a second. We The Best will look to put the Alpine under so much pressure. But will the Alpine be able to soak it? Moose is going to be defending from Brother Troll, but the Alfa Romeo is spotting that inside line into Tarzan corner. It doesn't seem like he's able to claim 5th place. But he's coming back on towards turn 2 as the Alfa Romeo. It seemed like he may have had an opportunity. He's not able to create anything of that. But Brother Troll, is he under pressure then from his teammate through the kinks of turns 4, 5 and 6? No, he's going to launch an attack onto Moose, on towards turn 7. Is he going to dare a move to the inside of turn 7? He did think about it, but in the end he thought rather sensibly to back out. So it is a 4-way train for 5th place here at Zandvoort. It's a 2-way battle out in front as well. But for the moment, let's just focus on the battle for 5th place. Moose slightly wide through the exit of turn 10. But he really isn't under pressure from Brother Troll. Perhaps down the start-finish straight. We will have to see. But the Haas holding his own for the moment. He's gained 5 places in this sprint so far. And he will look to preserve that 5-way leap since the start of the race, but he doesn't get the best of exits through the final corner. It looks like Brother Troll has his chance. Raging down the start-finish straight on towards the end of the straight, and Brother Troll for the moment emerges up into 5th place. Moose tried to defend that position, but in the end it is the Alfa Romeo that prizes 5th place off of the Haas's grasp. Now wants to pressurise Moose again towards turn 7. He's trying to think about a move, but he isn't able to make an impression on the Haas. Hydrant now leads by roughly a second from We The Best. It's kind of ebbing and flowing. All now the best has gone for a venture through turn 7. And he drops further behind the field. But Brother Troll now progresses past Ellie. And it looks like Ellie's actually left the session. Oh, that is despair there for the Red Bull, who is running so well in this sprint. But she's going to drop and tumble down the order. Moose is going to gallantly battle past, so too is Bullet. And the race is just getting away from Ellie. Oh, that's such a shame there. So Moose is past Ellie's AI. Bullet is about to do the same. He wants to be able to pose a threat to Moose into turn 1, but he's not quite close enough for that. Keysboard is pressurising Gandalf's McLaren through Tarzan, but for the moment is not close enough. You can see their Bullets going side by side with Moose on towards turn 6. It looks like he's got past. Moose is shuffled out wide and he loses the place to Bullet, so both Alfa Romeos in the last couple of laps have battled past the Haas. So the racing is really coming alight here at Zandvoort, finally, after the craziness of the first few laps. And you can see Keysboard down the inside of Gandalf, who has got out wide. But to Kerdre, looks like opportunistically he wants to get past the pair of them, but through turn 10, he collided there with the Haas. For the moment, the Kerdre is 10th. Musto ahead of Shadows. Shadows continues his fight back through turn 13 though. He almost careered into the rear of the Haas. But down this start-finish straight, he showed his supreme speed when it mattered in qualifying. There's a problem at the start of the race has plagued his progress, but the Kerdre's progress now is enough for him to seize 9th place off of Keysboard's Haas. Shadows still putting Moose under an awful lot of pressure through turn 3. And you can see the driver's taking a really acute line through turn 3. It's a perfect juxtaposition in terms of how in real life Formula 1 drivers tackled it. But again, Moose still keeping Shadows at arm's length. But for how much longer the Mercedes is trying and testing to get past the Haas. But every threat he poses is not a threat severe enough for the Haas to relinquish that 6th place. On towards turn 10, the Mercedes is spotting an opportunity. Oh, the margins are so fine on towards turn 10. The rewards are so sweet as well. But there were no rewards there for that specific moment and that specific chance that he thought he had. He then tried to launch an attack on towards turn 11, but nothing came about it. Oh no, he's now hit the Haas. A race that promised so much for Shadows has yielded so little. He has broken his front wing. Once more he's going to come into the pits. And it has been a sad and sorry tale for today's pole sitter. He then receives his time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But it has been a horrid ride around Zandvoort for Shadows. And he is not going to be winning anything here on this Sunday evening. Seems like Ellie still isn't able to get back into the lobby, so her progress, her efforts in this race have been curtailed as her AI takes over and as her chances diminish too. But this here is the battle for the lead with 5 laps left of this sprint. Who will seize the initiative? Ellie is not able to get back into her car. That's a real shame there for the Red Bull. She most certainly could have been on for a top 5 finish. Oh, Shadows now on the dry tyres. Being very inventive with strategy. Has encountered yet another problem in this race. And the problems just mount and mount and mount for the Mercedes. But again, Hydrant is still holding his own in the Alpine out in front. gap is 3/4 of a second. It is coming down though. One mistake from Hydrant and the Red Bull has his chance. One mistake from the Red Bull and the opportunity of a race victory will creep away from him. Akerdre though is putting Moose under a load of pressure on towards turn 7. It looks like he just had to back out of the move at the very last moment. But on towards turn 8, again he's closing in on the Haas. But Moose just about is keeping that position. Shadows has gone for another spin, which has brought out the yellow flags. Looks like the leaders will be lapping him, and indeed they do, but Akerdre trying to get past Moose. Is he going to do it at long last around the outside of turn 11? The Haas shows him the door, and this is proving tough, testing and taxing for the Alpine to get past. The Haas just has him where he wants him. Great defensive work from Moose, it must be said. Through the final corners of the Alpine finally, at long last, have his chance. They're going side by side down the start-finish straight. The Alpine will look for the inside line into Tarzan corner, but the Haas hanging it around the outside is still proving a problem. They're again going side by side, but the Alpine finally, and at long last, has stolen 6th place from Moose and has promoted himself further up the leaderboard. Three laps to go, well, pretty much 2.5 laps to go here at Zandvoort. Wiedebest looked like he was closing in, but Hydrant has held his own and he has been impervious under pressure in this sprint. Thomas Basket is kind of running his own race. He isn't pressurising P2. He's not under any pressure from Brother Troll. So as long as he keeps it clean, this will be a free ride to the finish for him. But we are now on the penultimate lap of this race. Hydrant leads by nearly 2 seconds. We have yellow flags now through sector 1, and Gandalf has had a problem through turn 3. He has mangled his McLaren into the barriers and has written the end of his race script on the penultimate lap. Seems like the drivers are rather equidistant to one another. There aren't any battles brewing, really. But let's see if Wiedebest can force a mistake from the Alpine of Hydrants. He's going to be the king of wishful thinking if he is to win this race. But he will need to craft it with every bit of precision he possesses. Thomas Basket is closing in on the Red Bull as well, but it doesn't seem plausible that he'll be able to get past, particularly by running wide on towards turn 11. Gandalf has now met the end of his race. We are down to 10 runners in this race. We now journey on towards the final lap of this Zandvoort sprint. It is Hydrant leading from Wiedebest, Thomas Basket in 3rd, ahead of Brother Troll. But it's Akerdre in 6th, ahead of Moose, who has really dropped off of Akerdre. Keysboard is behind Moose, Eddie 9th, still ghosting. The best is 10th. Akerdre now sets the fastest lap, so he will gain an extra point in this race, but it is his teammate who, under the dark, rainy and thundery skies of Zandvoort, it is him that will be celebrating. Thomas Basket still closing in on Wiedebest, but with just a handful of corners to go, it doesn't seem like he'll be able to make the pass. So then, under the soaking and sodden skies here at Zandvoort, it has left the drivers to do it all, and do it all is what Hydrant has done. He has been impervious to all pressure applied to him, and as he rounds the banked turn 14 corner, He can at last see the checkered flag, and it is him that wins the sprint around Zandvoort. Wiedebest comes home second ahead of Dumbest Basket. Brother Troll will come home in fourth ahead of his teammate Bullet. Kerdre, putting Bullet under a lot of pressure through the final couple of corners, but he is just not close enough to steal that fifth place from the Alfa Romeo's grasp. Moose will head the two Asses, who will come home seventh and eighth. Ellie will come home ninth, and it seems like the best will have to settle for 10th place. But the sprint, the sodden, soaking sprint here at Zandvoort is finally over. And it is Hydrant who does take the race win. It must be said it was a very richly deserved win for Hydrant. He took every opportunity offered to him and he seized it with both hands. It is Alpine who were victorious around Zandvoort, courtesy of Hydrant. And that rounds off a weekend of motorsport festivities. So here is your race result then. Hydrant, by nearly 3 seconds, beats Wiedebest in the race. Dumbest Basket comes home third ahead of Brother Troll. Bullet fifth, Kerdre sixth. Then comes Moose, Keysboard, Ellie, and the best, rounding out the points paying positions. And it's Gandalf, Donkey Kong, Shadows, Funky Delia, Theo, Connor, Atomic Drax, and KOT, who were the non-finishers in this race. Well, thank you one and all so very much for your company in this race. Zandvoort has been the perfect stage to speed, sensation and supremacy this weekend. And PFL will return next weekend around the streets of Azerbaijan. Just a quick disclaimer, I will not be able to be here to commentate until the Tier 4 sprint next Sunday. So I will have to hand over the reins to someone else to commentate next weekend's race. But yeah, what a fantastic weekend it has been. I hope you all thoroughly enjoyed it. I certainly did. And this latest round of PFL for all tiers has been a round of riveting racing once more. But the carnage will certainly intensify as the league and racing division heads on to Baku next week. We'll see you then.